Hello and welcome to Google Digital Garage. Thank you for joining us today as we talk about social media strategy. And let us know in the chat where you are dialing in from, where you're watching this from, and what you're hoping to get out of today's webinar. So my name is Anthea. I'm one of the Google Digital Garage trainers. We offer this free training or digital skills program, and we're doing this both face-to-face and also online. And we have a variety of different sessions that you can jump on board to learn about how you can improve your digital skills in order to further your career or even to improve your business. So just also to let you know that we have Mohammed, who is in the chat. He is also one of the Google Digital Garage trainers and will be our moderator for this evening. Now, Mohammed does not have a blue spanner next to his name, but anytime you see his name appear in the chat, please know that it's one of the Google Digital Garage trainers. He'll be here supporting me in today's webinar, where we'll be talking about social media strategy. He'll be answering some of your comments and some of your questions, and also passing some of those on to me so that I can also answer those as we pause throughout today's session. So please keep him busy, drop in all your comments and all your questions, and we'll get as many of those answered as we possibly can today. So just a little bit of housekeeping, just want to call out a few things, is if you're having any issues trying to see the video clearly, it could be something on your end. So the best way to resolve that is to hit F5 or right click refresh, and that should reload the screen, reload the video, and you should be back in the room. In addition, if you want to participate by offering comments, suggestions, or any feedback or any questions that you've got, please make sure that you have a YouTube account. That's the only way to jump into the chat. So please make sure, if you don't have a YouTube account, that you click the appropriate link within the chat box to sign up for a YouTube account, which only takes a couple of minutes, and then you'll be able to participate in the chat. You're more than welcome to just watch, but just note that if you have any specific questions, you won't be able to get those across to us. So that's really all you need to know for us to get started. So because we're short on time, let's dive straight in to social media strategy. Now, what we're going to do is break down today's session into 3 parts. Now, the first part, we're going to look at how you can use social media to help you grow your business. The next one is to then look at the steps involved in building a social media strategy. And then lastly, we'll look at a few tips and some tools that are going to help you moving forward. So just a few hellos before we dive in. We have got Subash saying hello. We've got Ibnu. Hopefully I've pronounced that name correctly. We've also got another Mohammed, and we've got Lakshan in the chat as well. So welcome everybody. Thank you for giving up your time to be here, and hopefully you'll find this session valuable. Drop in the chat, let us know what is it you're really hoping to get out of today, and hopefully we can make sure that that happens. Okay, so first thing that we need to do is look at how we use social media to help grow your business. So we'll look at some of the ways that it can do that and look at some of the impacts that social media has actually had in terms of social communication. So think about it. Your customers live on social media. There are 52 million active social media users in the UK alone, just in 2021. Do drop in the chat and let me know, are you using social media? And if so, is it for personal use, or is it for business use, or is it for both? Let us know. With 52 million people actively using social media, it gives you a really great pool of opportunity for growing your business. And as they're spending 110 minutes on social media every single day, that's nearly 2 hours. It gives you a window from which you can communicate with them. So the more you understand social media, the better you become at using social media to target potential customers. Now, one of the things that can benefit you if you're considering using social media is being able to generate more sales, right? And you're not a business if you're not admitting that one of the reasons you want to be on social media as a strategy is to generate more sales, is to get more business for your organization. Now, in addition, there are some other things that are of value that you can benefit from as well. Now, you have the ability to reach new audiences. So this is up to 84% of the UK population are on some form of social media platform, right? And so if you think about that volume of people, not everybody is going to be a customer, and that's absolutely fine. But within that 84%, you now get an opportunity to reach people that you may never have had an opportunity to reach using other methods. So today we're going to help you figure out how best to use your money and also your resources to help you access potential customers on social media. It also allows you to create new opportunities. So think about, connecting with customers. Think about, different ways that you can get people engaged. Maybe there are competitions that you can facilitate. Maybe there's hashtags that you can use to invite people into a challenge. This just allows you to use social media very creatively to access potential new customers. It also allows you to target very specific demographics. So the more you learn about the people who are engaging with you on social media, the more you understand who they are. And once you know who they are, you can target them a lot more specifically. And that could be based on gender, age, location, or even occupation. So there are so many options available, and that depends on the social media platform that you're using. But again, this is another way that you can gain value from using social media. It also allows you to sell directly from your social media platforms. Now, think about something like Instagram. Now, Instagram has embedded shops. So imagine somebody sees you've got a nice plant, right? So maybe you're interested in having a similar plant, and you've got a photo of you with the plant in the background on your social media platform. Someone says, I really would love to have that. And immediately they can click a link without going anywhere else and able to purchase it without even fully leaving Instagram. So this is where the power comes from, your ability to sell in as quick steps as possible without having to vary too much. Now, I can see in the chat that we've got people who are using social media for personal use, and also personal use, but obviously for office related goals as well. Okay, so social media is often used for customer service. So having chatbots, having live chat. So somebody wants to make an inquiry, they can immediately go straight to you and ask a question and be able to get an answer pretty much straight away. And this is useful because it gives you an opportunity to set your hours of operation for which people can communicate with you. And chatbots are really great for things like frequently asked questions. So if you have people asking you typical questions, instead of answering that question time and time again, put it in a frequently asked question and that will deal with that. But the human aspect of it, of you being able to communicate directly with your customers, is something that is completely invaluable. So start to think about different ways that you can add value to your brand. You can raise your customer service levels. Having that ability for your customers to reach you directly allows you to display how great your customer service is. Were you able to resolve the problem? Were you able to signpost them to something else that might have been valuable? Were you able to answer their questions and then essentially sell them something? Think about the two-way conversations that you can start. When you're in certain social media platforms, you can go into direct messages, and someone's mentioned sliding in the DMs. This is a great opportunity for you to use that for your business. Start to learn your customers, engage with them, have conversations, think about what challenges they're facing, what problems they have, and therefore it helps you to adjust your marketing narrative so that you speak more to the problems and let them know how you're solving them. Think about showing a new side to your business. There are a lot of people who do, behind the scenes. Maybe you're very product focused, and this will give you an opportunity to showcase the people who make the products. So there is other parts of your business that you can showcase that maybe most people don't get to see simply because you're not using social media. And then also think about increasing your brand legitimacy. So by being active, by regularly posting on social media, it and showcasing other reviews. So when you get things like testimonials, you can post those to showcase how great your business is, and it helps you to build trust for your brand and also the products and services that you offer. So think about how you can improve your marketing. I'd said that, the more that you understand your customers, the better you can increase, improve, adapt, change your marketing narrative. So improving your marketing is, useful in terms of social media, because what generally tends to happen is when people search for certain things, sometimes your social media posts come up. So, for example, Mental Health Day is coming up in the next week. And so there's likely to be a lot of posts specifically around mental health. Now, if that mental health ends up becoming a trend as well, what that does is it means more people will be exposed to your social media posts simply because of the concepts or the topics that you've used. In addition, because you're using things that are searched for highly, you start to appear in Google searches. So using your social media is not just about reaching people through social media. It's about giving you a broad variety of ways in which your potential customers can access you and learn about you. So brand awareness is really key. So that helps you to get more noticed on search. It helps you to attract more people to your site. When you have those social media posts, you can have calls to action which lead people directly to your website. And then you can gain valuable customer insights by looking at the insights that are available both on your website and also on the social media platforms. Start to learn, where are they coming from? How long are they staying? What particular posts are people liking? What are people saving? What are they sharing? What are they engaging with? And then this gives you an understanding about how your customer wants to be communicated to. And what that allows you to do is make some adjustments in your marketing strategy so that you can better target them, create that connection, and allow them to start working with your business. And of course, we have no competition because what we do and how we do it is always going to be unique. However, it's really important to be able to keep an eye on the industry. What are other people doing? How are they doing it? And what might be useful for me to incorporate in my business? So these are just some things that you may want to think about. So, are there any questions that anyone has so far as we start to look at, I guess, a bit of an introduction to the value of social media for your business? Okay, I don't think there are any questions. Absolutely fine. I'll keep pushing on. But again, if you have any questions whatsoever, please do drop them in the chat. Mohammed will answer them or pass them on to me, and I'll answer them at the next pause that we have. So stay engaged, everybody. Thank you for your attention so far. And we will continue onto the second part of today's webinar. Now, this is about how you're going to actually build a social media strategy. It's all good saying, yeah, this is what you need to do, but the question always comes back is how. Whether you've got a strategy in place or not, whether or not you're just trying to see if this would work for you, the main thing to be aware of is that we share the tips and you have to figure out what is best for you and what will work for your business. So the first thing to do is really just outline the 5 steps that are needed to create a social media strategy. The first is you defining your audience. The second is you setting your goals. What is it you want to achieve? Deciding on which platform or platforms you would like to be on. Find your social voice, which should align to your business. And then decide what success looks like to you. So what that does is it allows you to measure how effective you are on social media. So let's deep dive into each of these and cover off how you would go about doing this. So defining your audience. This is probably the most critical step. Now, if you're attempting to speak to everyone, you will speak to nobody. And the reason is because imagine an ocean. and you are trying to, to speak to you're trying to speak to everything that sits within the ocean, that message is going to get lost because it is so vast. So really what you're trying to do is pinpoint. Now, one thing to counteract with this is the fact that there are 7.7 billion people on this planet, give or take a few million. Now, you will not run out of people who can be potential customers. And I know that's one of the fears that people have with trying to get really specific and defining your audience. So don't worry about getting too narrow. It's better to narrow it, see what comes back, and then expand it, than to be too broad and completely miss the mark. So what you really want to start doing is think about who your audience are. Who are they? What are they into? So when I say who are they male? Are they female? Are they, do they go to do they have a specific type of education? Do they live in a certain location? What are they into? What are their hobbies? What are their interests? Where are you likely to find them? Who or what influences them? Maybe what are their buying decisions like? Are they the kind of people who go onto, apps like Which to get reviews about a particular product or service before they, join? Are they someone who goes to Google reviews? Are they someone who looks at the reviews before making a decision? Or do they look to see a particular influencer and how they may be using certain products and services, and therefore want to do that too? So it really does depend on what influences them, because that will be your best route to communicating with your audience. Think about when they are generally online. So this will be useful and information that you can obtain through the insights from whichever social media platform that you are looking at. If you find out that, for example, you're trying to sell, pizza, you've got a special offer on lunchtime pizza, it doesn't make much sense trying to create posts that go out on social media at 10 p.m. because the next thought that they're going to have is, I'm going to bed, or I'm going to wake up and have breakfast. You want to make sure that you're targeting people in the morning after they've had breakfast, so that lunch and your lunch offer is the next thing on their mind, so that they can then be, called to take the action to come and purchase lunch from you. So it really is about understanding when people are online and when the best time to actually communicate with them is. And of course, which social media platform do they use? This is important because a lot of time we have our own favorites, but what we like is irrelevant, right? It really needs to be very clear, what social media platform are my audience going to be on? Because I need to meet them where they are at. And one thing about the social media platforms or the audiences is that they might be on a variety of platforms, but you need to choose which platforms are right for you. And we'll come to that when we look at social media platforms. So how do you define your audience? Start speaking to real people, right? Anyone that you know who is a potential customer for your business or your product or service, speak to them. You can do surveys. You can identify groups and segments that would be most attracted to your offering. So that could be based on gender. I'm trying to sell women's shoes, so I'm going to market to women. Or I'm going to sell children's shoes, so I need to market to parents. I'm going to sell, protein shakes, so I want to market to the health conscious, right? So you have to really think about what problems people are having, what they're interested in, and what kind of solutions that they're looking for, so that you can turn up and offer them that solution. Bearing in mind, again, that what you're looking at is figuring out ways that you can get the data from people, whether that's direct messaging, service, surveys, etc. You can also gather insights from your platforms, as I mentioned. So look in that, see when people are coming on, what the location is, what they're doing, how long they're spending, what kind of posts that they're engaging with. All of this information helps you to understand them better. Define your goals. So think about how you can go about giving better customer service. So again, we talked about things like chatbots. So how are you doing that? How are you communicating with them? How are you responding to them? Grow brand awareness. You can only have customers if people know you exist. So what are you doing to let people know that you exist? that your business exists, the problems that you solve, the products and services that actually are solutions to their challenges. Decide that you want to generate more sales. You can also want to get more people on your site or connect with influencers. So, whatever it is that is your focus, and bearing in mind that it's best not to have too many goals. Just think of one goal for now. And once you've achieved that, you then look at the next one. So, trying to give better customer service whilst growing brand awareness and generating more sales is going to require such a vast strategy. It will take up time and resources. So think about what matters most for your business right now and focus on that. So one thing I'd like you to do in the chat is share one goal that you have for social media. Think about what's the most important thing for your business right now and how social media may be able to help you in terms of achieving that goal. So please share that in the chat and I'll come back to that. And Mohammed will probably respond as well. Okay, so we've got the 4 Ds of goal setting. So the first is discover, right? So what's the goal and how does it help your business? So I might want to generate more sales. Yes, that helps my business in terms of increased revenue. But actually, is that what's the most important right now? It could be better customer service because the clients I'm having don't come back, right? So we have to think about what's most important and how is it going to help the business. Then you need to define any barriers. Now, when you're setting goals, the barriers aren't just about barriers in business, it's barriers for yourself. Maybe it's a mindset issue. Maybe it's a lack of confidence. Maybe you're somebody who procrastinates. Maybe you don't have enough time. Maybe you don't have enough money. Maybe you're not a great communicator. These are all potential barriers to you achieving your goal. And the more you can be honest about what those things are, the better it's going to be to help you figure out strategies and tips for working through them in order to be successful. So following your barriers and knowing what it is you're trying to achieve and what potentially could get in the way, make a list of everything that you need to achieve that goal. What is it you actually need to do, right? Write it down, because the more you have in your head, the less likely you're going to, complete those tasks. So make a list, make sure you've written it down. You can prioritize it. You can even make a list of what are the things that you could potentially outsource. Maybe there's somebody who is better at it if you have staff. If you're somebody who works alone, a solopreneur, for example, there may be people within your network that can come in and help you with your business. So that's how you get to deliver, by working out how to mitigate the issues or the barriers that you're likely to face in order to complete the list and achieve the goal that you have discovered. Okay, so think about this and how you can implement that within your business. Now, step 3 is to choose your channels carefully. Now, what are you going for, right? Because if you're a business and you're selling to consumers who are within business, you're going to want to have more professional business related focus. But maybe you're someone who is selling products and services with more of a lifestyle focus. And that could be, fashion. Maybe you're selling cakes, things like that. It could be personal training. That's more one-to-one. And people who are likely to be your client want to see your life. How do you live? If this is something that I want to adopt, maybe I want to lose weight, gain strength, run a marathon. I need to see what's the life like of somebody who is healthy. Okay, so what you're selling and who you're selling to makes a really big difference in terms of, the kind of posts that you will basically be using. So where do you go? If it's very business focused, you might think of places like LinkedIn, right? That's very network, professional, business. But if it's more lifestyle, you could be thinking about Facebook. Instagram can be somewhere in between because it is very much used in a professional standpoint and also for lifestyle. So you really have to choose the channels carefully. And again, base it on where your customers are likely to be, not what's your favorite. And start with one. Every social media platform that you use will need its own strategy. So if you decide to have social media platforms 5 social media platforms, you will need 5 social media strategies, because each of them act differently. And the way in which your potential customers are likely to interact with you will change. So the kinds of posts that you have, the frequency, the time of day, all of those things are going to need to be considered. So please do not spread yourself too thin and try to do everything at once. Find one platform, and once you're able to perfect that and get a formula where you're able to communicate with your potential clients, start generating leads and all of those kind of things, then that is a great place to be in terms of you, pushing forward and deciding to move onto another platform. So you can also learn about your customers' behavior. So let us know in the chat. For those of you who are here, do you have a website? Right? Website is so key. A lot of people operate without a website, and we're definitely not saying that you have to have a website, but especially if you're in the virtual world, a website is really essential because you can connect Google Analytics. Mohammed will drop a link to Google Analytics in the chat. It's a free program app from Google. And what it does is once you've connected it to your website, it allows you to see what people are doing. Where are people coming from? Where are the, in terms of location demographics, but also what channels, right? So if you're posting a lot, let's say on Instagram, you'll see that. If you've got a lot of things going on YouTube, you'll see that. But if you're putting all of your time and effort on Facebook, but you're getting no click-throughs, you'll see that. And all of this information is invaluable in helping you to understand your customers' behavior and therefore adapt your social media strategy to connect better with the people that you need to. So let's look at some of the different platforms then. You've got Twitter. So this is really good for quick fire conversations, opinions, responses, and it's good as a PR tool. Twitter is a good way to grow brand awareness from thought-provoking content, etc. That is quick, and maybe pinned tweets that allow you to have important messages or offers. And this is how we're growing brand awareness. We want people to be aware of us and go to find out more, which they do from our websites. So get noticed, join in the conversations, use the relevant hashtags, but most importantly, create a professional looking profile, header image, and @ name. You may sell cakes, you may do personal training, but if it sounds corny, if it sounds unprofessional, if it's potentially offensive, that will speak more to your brand than anything else that you do. So really, really consider what name you would like to brand yourself on Twitter, and make sure it's easy for people to be able to say or spell. Because ultimately, if they can't pronounce it or they can't write it, it's unlikely that they will follow up or find you. Also, you've got things like Facebook. So this helps you to find, helps people to find you and also see what your business is about. You can link it back to your main website. Facebook is great because it has quite a lot of content on there that keeps people within Facebook as well. So you can do bookings in there. You can add your opening hours, your contact details. People can leave reviews in there. People can engage with your posts. You've got a call to action on there, which allows people to shop, to contact you, to buy now. There's a Facebook product store as well, so you can link it to that. So it's a really great place to get engaged with your audience and, for that lifestyle effect. Instagram, another great place for photos and videos. Let people in. What are they looking at? Can't just be a list of products and services every single day. Give them some value. Think about, a story that can help people get interested. Don't put too many hashtags on there. And also consider following other influencers, brands, or people that you find interesting so that they appear on your feed. And that also allows you to get creative and start to think about different ways that you can use social media for your own business as well. Excuse me. Okay, so we have LinkedIn. So as I mentioned this already, very good platform for professional networking and connecting with peers, potential recruiters, and also potential clients, right? So create a personal or a company page. It's up to you what you do. If you really want to set yourself apart as an organization, your organization has things to say and want to be able to communicate products, services, thoughts, suggestions, and all of these kind of things, you may want to do it under a company page. Otherwise, you could just create a personal page where you might be a brand. So, for example, you could be a speaker, you could be a consultant, and people are not buying into a business, they're buying into you. So you may want to have a personal page for that. If you do end up with staff, think about how they can become brand advocates. Think about the kind of things that you can post that your staff would be willing to share on their platforms. Because when they post, you then gain access to their entire network. And again, this is another way of growing brand awareness. It helps you to extend the reach from which people become aware of you because other people are forwarding or sharing your content. Make sure that your page is search engine friendly. Again, remember, LinkedIn profiles come up on Google search. So you want to make sure you're using some of those really important keywords within your profile. And then also share product news and thought leadership content. Set yourself apart. Start to build your authority on LinkedIn. YouTube is one of the most popular video sharing sites. And most importantly, it's also a search engine. So again, think about showing anything from product reviews to your latest ad, because these are things that can potentially come up and your potential customers could see based on the fact that it's using particular keywords. So be a thought leader. Create shareable content. The more videos that get shared, the more follows you get. You're able to do a lot more in terms of your reach. You can monetize it and you will start to appear higher and higher in the rankings. Create things that are useful for your audience. Anyone who stops at your video needs to find value. So make sure that you're giving that and also looking for other people who can help you grow your channel. TikTok, again, one of the newer platforms, short form video content and has 1 billion users, right? And this hasn't been around for that long. So this is a really great opportunity for you to reach potential customers if your customers are likely to be there. So generally it helps you with connecting with younger audiences, but I have seen, a lot of people put on motivational content. People are putting on health and fitness content for, people who are over 60 and things like that. So don't allow it to limit you, but be very mindful of whether or not your customers are actually on there. If they're not, you'll be spending a lot of time on a social media platform that's not going to generate anything for your business. So use it to drive engagement, grow brand awareness. So allow people to understand who you are and be candid and authentic in those videos. It's not really the place for, fully made up professional settings. It's really just the kind of free flow, fun type of platform. So use it to also attract new audiences and create partnerships so that you can utilize their following to extend your reach. So step 4, we're now looking at your brand social voice. Now, whether or not you are specific about how you show up on social media, your brand will have a voice. It's in the things that you say and it's in the things that you do. It's in the logo that you use. It's in the fonts and colors that you use, because each of these convey a message to your potential audience. What kinds of personality do you want to display? Are you fun? Are you professional? Are you serious? Whatever it is, it's okay if that resonates with your audience, but you have to be consistent when you're showing up on social media. So maybe have a list of do's and don'ts. Think about your brand guidelines. What colors should you use in certain situations? How should you speak to potential customers? Think about all of these different things. What kind of images should you be using? What kind of images should you not be using? How do you want to close off emails or open emails? Do we say thanks or do we say thank you? These are all things to be considering to ensure that your business remains consistent in how it shows up on social media. So think about your brand tone of voice. Let us know in the chat, what out of these, which one would you consider to be your brand tone of voice? Usually when we're suggesting this, we would say choose 3 different categories. right? And that gives you the flexibility to create a personality and a tone of voice that allows you to decide how to use imagery, fonts, colors, and all of those kind of things. So, are you sophisticated, serious, powerful? Are you friendly, fresh, optimistic, youthful, excited, use slang, calm, professional, warm? It can be any combination. There is no right tone of voice, but the tone of voice should align to your business and your business should align to your core values. Okay, so how is it that you want to operate? How do you want to be perceived by audiences? And as long as you are consistent with that, that's the main thing. How often you're showing up, what type of things you talk about. If you're constantly up and down with everything, it's going to be a challenge, and people aren't going to have enough of a consistent presence to be able to build that trust and loyalty that's necessary for you to engage them as customers. So, the last step in this then is to really look at how do you go about defining success, right? So, we have our goal. We know what channels we want to be on. We know what kind of voice we want. We know what kind of things we're trying to get out of it. But how do we know if we've achieved it? So, for example, if I'm a personal trainer and I've decided that I want to generate more sales, I've said that I'm going to use, let's say, TikTok, for example. How do I know that I've been successful? And it can't just be a simple case of me saying, well, I signed up one new client. Well, what if I signed up one new client in a year? Is that feasible? Does that help me with my financial goals for my business? Probably not. So I need to be a lot clearer about how I'm going to go about measuring success. So is it a growth in sales? Is it that I've got more traffic coming to my website? Is it that I'm now starting to connect with more influencers who are putting my content out on their channels, and therefore I'm getting a wider reach and I'm growing in terms of my brand awareness? Is it that I've got an improvement in my customer service? Maybe the number of calls being answered or even the reviews that I'm getting on Google. Could it be increasing brand awareness, the reach, the number of mentions, the amount of engagement that I now get? So you could have gone from having, X number of followers who maybe like some of your posts to now having a really engaged profile where people are constantly, responding to the posts that you're putting out. So start to think about the goals that you have and the ways that you can tell that that goal has been achieved. And it could be that you set numbers against each of these things. So if you're going to have a social media strategy that, is for the next 6 months, you want to have a growth in sales and have a checkpoint maybe midway. So after 3 months, have I at least signed up 3 out of the 10 clients that I want for that 6-month period? Because if you haven't signed up any in 3 months, that's an indicator that something that you're doing, there's something in that formula that isn't quite right. And that gives you another 3 months to make those changes and start to measure again what is working and what could potentially be improved. Now, I'm sure you've all heard of SMART: specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, time-based. This is a way of you setting goals. So like I mentioned, they're not just, I think I could do this. Maybe I think think things are improving. I can't be so sure. This is a way of you knowing, right? This is about you saying, I want to make this goal SMART so I can track it, I can measure it, and I can tell if it worked for me. So think about going from, I want to increase my online sales, and then deciding to make that a SMART objective. So instead, you would say, I want to increase my online sales by 20% within 3 months. If at 3 months you have not increased your online sales by 20%, you know that you have not achieved that objective. So it's very clear, right? And you can be checking every month to see what kind of progress you're making. Another example is to say, I want to increase brand awareness. I get this a lot. How do I increase my brand awareness? Well, what does that mean? How do you know if your brand awareness has been increased? So maybe increase your brand awareness on Facebook by growing your audience by 40%. Right? So if you've already got a Facebook platform, and you've already got some people following you, by increasing that by 40%, you will know that you have now grown brand awareness, because that's what works for you. So again, really important for you to start looking at making these goals really smart. So also consider paying, right? It allows you to reach a wider audience that's a lot more specific. So think about things like ads. It's important across all platforms, especially if your goal is to get more sales. Social media can sometimes be a slower strategy. So by paying, it just allows you to reach who you need to reach very quickly and be very specific. If you're paying for ads, don't negate using social media as a strategy. It's still useful to do all of the brand awareness, to grow, to engage, and to do all of those things on social media, because that helps you to build a loyal following. But paying for ads just allows you to target people very quickly. Also consider what budget you have. Right. So it's all good saying, oh, I've got ads, I want to run ads and I want to do this and I want to do that, but I don't have any money. Surely there is some money, even if it's £10 a month, £5, £100, £10,000, it doesn't matter. Think what is possible within your budget and how can you allocate budget to different channels. And then think about prioritizing it based on a timeline and a strategy. So for example, the next kind of big event coming up is Christmas. So if you're going to do something, now's a great time to lead up to Christmas, and then you can manage your budget and then see at the end of the year if you're able to achieve those objectives. So it's a really great way of you determining, how to utilize what budget you do have to help you get in front of your potential customers. So let's start thinking about how we can bring things together. First, remember the 5 steps. Define your audience, determine your business goals, decide on which social platform or platforms to use, identify your tone of voice, and then measure what success is. Okay, so we've got a few minutes to go. So just answer a few of these questions. Matt's asked, how many marketing platforms should you be on? What do you mean by marketing platforms? Is that social media? And I think I've answered that, is only as many as you have the strategy to complete. Each social media platform requires a different strategy. So what you don't want to do is spread yourself too thin and not end up posting on different platforms because you don't have time. Just pick the one that's most popular with your audience, start there, and then you can work your way and start building on that once you've started to develop that relationship. Right time to post. It changes the preference of reads. Some posts more prefer in the morning, evening. Insights will tell you that. So where you see you're posting things, so marketing is testing, right? So when you're posting something at a particular time, look to see who engages with it. Maybe follow up a month or so later and post the same thing at a different time and see what kind of impact that has. That helps you to learn your audience and what they respond to and when. Subash is asking, every social media platform needs a separate strategy. Do I need to apply? Yeah, one for all. So this is what a question I've answered. One strategy, one platform. So figure out one strategy for one platform, master that, and then you can move on. Rostand is asking, can you share some tips to grow your brand awareness online? So I've covered that already in terms of being able to use influencers to go onto YouTube, to create videos, to collaborate with others. It's about showing up in the places that people want to be in. So I've only got 1 more minute left. So I'm going to just push on and just finish up here, just to talk about some of the tools and best practice that you have, that you can use. So again, when you think about social media strategy, start thinking about how you want to do that. So you've got things like Canva, which is another way for you to create or design posts and share them directly. You can use things like Buffer and Hootsuite, that's another good one. So just start to think about different tools for you to create things, and also push your content out. Remember, one strategy, one platform. Don't overwork yourself or spread yourself too thin. Think about one goal and stick to working on that goal for as long as possible so that you are able to achieve what you need to. And then once you've been able to do that, you're then in a position to start looking at the next goal that you want to set for your business. But these are just a few tools that you can utilize in order to help you with your social media strategy. So would like to just thank everybody for attending today for this session, and apologies if I didn't get to your question. Hopefully Mohammed was able to answer that. But again, note that we also have mentoring sessions for UK businesses. So if any of you are interested in getting one-to-one support to help you with your business, Mohammed will drop a link in the chat. And also just be aware that you can also sign up to other webinars that we've got on social media and how to write for social media so that you're in a good position to connect and communicate with your audience. So thank you very much, and good luck with your business. Take care.